Hey everybody, it's your old pal denskil here. Hope you're having a good day. In today's video, we're going to look at my guitar collection as of August 2023. I've made some recent changes, moved some guitars, brought some in. I figure I'd show you guys my guitars. These videos tend to get a lot of clicks. Now, there won't be any sound demos here. However, if you do want to hear the sounds and tones of a particular guitar or more details on one, please leave a comment. If this is your first time here, please consider liking and subscribing. Today we have a special guest too. Say hi, Lionel. So I'm just going to go through my guitars one at a time, in no particular order, kind of grouped by brand and sort of build. In most cases, I should be able to tell you when I got the guitar, why I like it, and what's special about it, and kind of what it means to me. So let's get started with the first one. First guitar I'm showing here is the one that I've had the longest in my collection. It's this blonde Highway 1 Telecaster that's been heavily modified. I got this guitar sometime after 2002 and before 2003 or 4. Like I said, it's been heavily modified. It's got locking tuners on it, a new neck, tortoiseshell pickguard, Lawler pickups, Callahan bridge plate with brass saddles. On all my Teles that I've ever had, I always flip the control plate around so I have the volume up here, the tone here, and the control switch back here. This guitar has been naturally relicked. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a nice ding right there and various battle scars. Arguably, this is my #1 guitar. I love this guitar. I just had it so long, and I played most of my gigs with this guitar here. Next up is a recent acquisition. This guy right here is a Fender American Original 60s Jazzmaster. I think I got the name right. So far, this guitar is bone stock. I haven't done any modifications to it. I got it off of, I can't remember if it was Facebook or Kijiji. I think it was Facebook. So it's been used, and I traded a Fender Johnny Marr Jaguar for this guitar straight up. This guitar's got a couple minor dings on it, but other than that, it plays and sounds great. What I like about it are these Jazzmaster pickups and the sort of simpler control layout that as compared to the Jag. It's just got, I guess because of the scale length and the pickup type, it's just got a thicker sound. So I use this quite a bit in my R&B band. In fact, I'm using it for rehearsal this evening, running it through a Supro. So really cool tone, and I love the wiggle stick on this thing. The trem system is awesome. Next up here is my Tom Anderson Raven Superbird. So this guitar is bloody stellar and amazing. I got it in November of 2020, and I've used it quite a bit in recordings. It's got Tom Anderson proprietary pickups in it. This is single coil, kind of like a big fat P90, and this humbucker just kicks ass. It's got these mini toggles that basically boost each pickup. So in the down position, the boost is on, and in the up position it's off, and with the 3-way toggle, you get some really interesting tones and pickup combinations there. This looks to be a Goto 510 bridge, but it's branded with Anderson Guitar Works logo in a dog hair finish, which, to be honest, I didn't like at first, but it's kind of grown on me. The reason I bought this guitar was, obviously I'm a huge fan of Tom Anderson guitars. This thing plays and sounds like a dream. But because of the long wait times and availability of these guitars, this was kind of the only Raven Superbird that was available, unless I wanted to wait like, a year or more. So yeah, cool things about this guitar are the shorter scale length. I believe it's either 24-inch or 24.5, something like that. It's a shorter scale, so the strings have a little less tension. It's got obviously an offset body and some cool contours, and I love the upper fret axis. This guitar is near and dear to me too for sentimental reasons. It is the guitar that I featured in my very first YouTube video. The next guitar we're looking at is this one. This is an Ernie Ball St. Vincent in silk charmeuse, and I got this guitar in March 2023. Got it off Reverb, basically due to the limited availability and exclusivity of this particular finish. And it was a decent price. It's a little dirty right now, but anyway, as I mentioned in my review, sounds a lot like kind of a beefed up Strat or Tele with these gold foil mini hums. I love the locking tuners and reverse headstock on this thing. Despite its jagged kind of shape, it actually is very comfortable to play and has a lot of cool contours on it. Only thing I don't like that I mentioned in my review is these knobs are kind of hard to tell what position you're in. So I might put a little black dot or something on here as a marker. But 5-way selection, and you get those in-between positions in 2 and 4, which sounds very Strat-like and beefy. Love the wiggle stick on it as well. Ernie ball necks are probably my favorite. Ooh, flamey. So I got really hot and hyped up on Ernie ball guitars. So after about a month of having the St. Vincent, I found this thing online. This is an Ernie Ball Music Man Sabre that I recently got and did a review on. What I like about this guitar is that it really is kind of a weird combo of a Strat and a Les Paul. These Ernie Ball HT pickups, I guess HT stands for heat treated, I think. Anyway, they sound really good. You've got a 5-way switcher, so positions 2 and 4 are kind of lower output, but really good for rhythm tones and kind of more jangly sounds. I like the fact that the pickups are direct mounted onto the body. The scale length is still kind of a Fender scale length, but again, that Ernie Ball killer neck. Yeah, I just love this guitar. Like all of them, really. Next up is this guy. This is an Ibanez Pia in Panther Pink. So I used to own one of these and got rid of it. Missed it like hell and ended up getting one back. This guitar sounds amazing and plays like butter. It's the only guitar I own with 9 to 42 gauge strings on it. These pickups are great, and I do actually use the treble bleed on the volume when you pull it out there. So I use this guitar for a lot of shreddy stuff. I got this guitar in December of 2022, and this one was bought from a store. Next up is my Sir Classic S. I don't know what the finish is exactly, whether it can be considered Olympic white, but it's white. I love this guitar. This thing does the Strat thing for me. What can I say about Sir guitars? They're just brilliant. Top-notch level of quality, similar to the Tom Anderson. They play themselves, really. Only modification I've done to this thing is back here I've installed a tremolo. That's to just have downward action on the bridge. Go to 510. I think this is an SSH ML standard, also an ML. I'm not exactly sure. This guitar has played quite a few gigs and showed up on quite a few recordings. Locking tuners, I mean, this thing's a beast. I've had that Sir since 2014 and it was bought from a store. Next up is my Yamaha Revstar Japanese Rsp02T. This was another recent acquisition in July 2023. I've always struggled with P90 guitars. This one finally kind of showed up and ticked all the boxes for me. It looks kind of like an SG. It's a gold top. I've always wanted a gold top guitar. And it's really solidly built. Yamaha makes really good guitars. Yeah, this thing kicks. Next up is my Gretsch Players Edition Jet, made in Japan. So this puppy's also got a lot of appointments that honestly I would have maybe upgraded myself, but they already did it for you since it's a Players Edition. So you get the locking tuners. It actually came with Schaller strap lock nubby things here. This has got, probably not showing up too well in the camera, but flame maple top, chambered. These pickups are Tim Shaw design. They're called BT65As. This guitar is like basically Gretsch's take on a Les Paul, I think. No fancy coil tops or anything like that, just volume, and tone. And this is a master volume with a 3-way selector. Yeah, this guitar is just amazing. I use it in all different applications, like with my R&B band, for example. So we're moving on to Gibson land, and if you hung around this long, congrats. First up is my custom shop Les Paul Class 5 Standard. This is another guitar I've had since roughly October of 2014. It's played quite a few shows. It's got some rash on the back. I don't know if that'll show up on the camera there. But just a beautiful specimen of Les Paul. It's my favorite Les Paul I've ever played, and I've owned a whole bunch of them. This finish is called Bourbon Burst, and these are, I think, Burstbucker Pros, or Pro. One's a Pro and one's a Pro Plus or Pro 1. I don't know. I've recorded bazillions of things with this guitar over the years. Best recorded example of this guitar I've ever played on is the track Wounder by my former band Hello Companion. Between this Les Paul and my Sir Classic, these are sort of my two foundational guitars. You're gonna have to bury me with them. Sticking with Gibson land, I'm a big fan of Gibson Les Paul Customs, so I scored this one off of Kijiji a few years ago. So this is a 1997 Gibson USA Les Paul Custom. I made a video on this guitar as well. I'm inspired by players like Randy Rhoads. I think Johnny Marr had one of these in a video too. What's special about this guitar are the mods that were done by the previous owner. These pickups here are Tim Shaw T-tops from 1978. I like the gold hardware, and I've pretty much left it the way it is, except for gold strap locks. I've always wanted a custom, and this thing sounds really spectacular and a lot different than my other Les Paul. So that's why I got both. Next up in Gibson world is my Explorer. This is a 2016 model. I want to say I got this around 2019 or something like that from a store. So this guitar originally came with those 498R and 498T pickups in it. So these are Sheptone classic PAFs. I've installed coil splits on them, as well as a phase switch when the pickup selector is in the middle position. So you get that you can get kind of like quackier tones. I've put Grover mini locking tuners on here. These are cool because they look almost identical to basic normal tuners. This guitar has appeared on a whole bunch of my recordings. I use this guitar all the time, even in my R&B band, and to play things like jazz on it. The Sheptone pickups are just aces. And yeah, I just love how this guitar plays, feels, and looks. Last but not least is this guitar here. This is a Gibson Memphis ES 355. I've also made a video on this guitar before. So yeah, this guitar, I mean, again, what can I say about it? It's not a custom shop, but it costs just as much. I think that's because of the VOS treatment it's got. I believe this is some kind of 58 reissue, or maybe early 60s. I'm not quite sure. But I love the inlays. I love the fact that it has a Bigsby on it. These are those Memphis MHS type pickups. Memphis Historic Spec MHS. Yes, that would be MHS. Only thing I don't like about this guitar is these bloody Bigsbys are a pain in the butt to restring. That's it for my electric guitars. I got one more electric instrument that I'll show you. So a little secret about denskil is I actually started as a bass player first. I moved to guitar a little bit after, even though I wanted to play guitar at the beginning. Bass was the only thing that I could play at the time. So I love the bass. The bass that I use for all my recordings and recordings for Guitar Hack, for example, is this one here. This is an Ernie Ball Stingray in dropped copper. I got this bass around 2020 sometime. It's got the active EQ in it with bass, middle, treble, and volume. 5-way selector switch with these crazy, I think they're neodymium or neodyne. I don't know. Look it up. This bass I got used at a local music store. Again, the Ernie Ball necks are killer for me. You can get a lot of different tones with this bass. So that's that. That's all my electric instruments. My acoustic instruments would be another video. This channel and this video is definitely not sponsored by anyone. All of these guitars have been paid for with money or by flipping or trading. Why do I have so many? I just love guitars, and they all do different things in slightly different ways. And really, I don't think I need to explain or justify why I love guitars and why I have so many of them. I mean, really? Yeah, it's a lot of overtime hours, a lot of saving, and a lot of passion. Looking for deals is a big thing for me. Anyway, if you want a more in-depth look at any one of these guitars in particular that I might not have covered properly in a previous video or haven't covered before at all, please leave a comment below. And no, I don't live in a guitar store. And no, I am definitely not rich. I'm just a lover of guitars and trying to keep my stable to a manageable number. I'm interested in finding out how many guitars you own. Are you one of those players that has just a couple instruments or maybe one instrument and you stick to it? Or are you a collector? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on why you have the number of guitars that you do. Are you loyal to any particular brands? Let me know. Let's talk. We'll have a coffee. It'll be all good. Anyway, this has been denskil. Hope you enjoyed this video. A little bit of guitar porn there for you folks. Hopefully not too gratuitous or self-indulgent. Thanks and take care.